Welcome to Middle Grade Book Adventures, where every month here at the Kingston Library, we preview a new middle grade book that we think you might enjoy. This month, we're looking at Project F, the new novel by the author of the City of Ember series. I am going to read from Chapter 1, The Terrible Accident. All was going well in our country at the time this story begins, which is several hundred years in the future from the time you're reading it. There were no wars, few wildfires and floods, no famines. Almost everyone lived in one of 7 cities. They were small cities, and all of them were within 2 or at most 3-day train ride of each other. They were built as circles, with a center from which the streets radiated out like the spokes of a wheel. If you could have seen them from above, at night, glowing softly with their thousands of lights, brightest in the middle, fading toward the edge, you would have thought they looked like 7 golden chrysanthemums scattered over the vast, dark land. Centuries of work had gone into building these cities. It wasn't easy. At any point, there could have been a wrong turn that ruined everything. There still could be. Such a point was approaching. In fact, and its outcome depended, though he didn't know this yet, on a black-haired boy named Keith Arlo, who was at his home in Cliff River City at the moment his parents received a letter. Margaret Arlo, Keith's mother, opened the letter and read, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Arlo, we are very sorry to inform you." Her face went pale as she read on without speaking. She handed the letter to Keith's father, whose name was Arthur. He took the letter, scanned it, and said, "Oh no." "What is it?" Keith asked. His father handed him the letter, and he read it quickly. "Unfortunately," it said, "being unfamiliar with ocean tides and currents, did not notice a sudden large wave. Husband went in to rescue, but both were swept away." "Swept away?" Keith said. "Does that mean they've drowned?" "It would seem so," his father said. "Alice and Dennis both." Keith's mother leaned against the wall, held her hands at her sides of her face, and stared at the air. Alice was her sister. Dennis was Alice's husband. Keith read on. "As nearest relatives, you will be responsible for the child left on the beach, currently in the care of Sandwater Children's Home." "I can't understand this," said Keith's mother. "The child," Keith said. "That would be Lulu." "Let's go and sit down." Keith's father turned away. "This is a shock. We need to think." They sat talking until late into the night. At first, Keith's mother cried, and his father put an arm around her and tried to comfort her. "I knew it was a mistake for them to move," she said between sobs. "Why did they do it? If they hadn't, they'd be here, alive, right now." "They wanted something new," said Keith's father sadly. "Warmer weather, different scenes. They were young and adventurous, and a bit foolish." "I begged them not to go," said Keith's mother. "I knew something bad would happen." "Bad things can happen anywhere," said his father. "You just wanted your sister to keep on living next door." "True, I did." After a while, when Keith's mother was a bit calmer, they talked about Lulu, who was 6 years old. "She must come live with us," his mother said. "Yes," said his father. "We'll have to go get her, right away, somehow." Ordinarily, Keith's parents would have made the trip, but his father couldn't leave his business. He was a prominent battery maker in the city, and his shop, full of wires and metals and fluids that could be put together to produce electricity in small amounts, enough to run a lamp or a fan, was always busy. And his mother, a designer of arches and columns and doorways for the Department of Buildings, had missed a step on a stone staircase the day before and broken her ankle. She could hardly walk. Keith said right away, "I'll go." His mother said, "Keith, 1,000 misfortunes can happen on a 2-day trip, especially to someone like you." 4-day trip, said Keith, 2 days each way. "Curse this foot," said his mother. "I'd be on that train in a minute if I hadn't missed that step." His father simply said, "It's a big responsibility." Keith reminded them that he was smart, capable, strong, and almost 14 years old, though his birthday was not for another 8 months. They talked for a long time. Keith's father kept pulling at his beard, as he often did when he was anxious. But finally he said, "I suppose I could explain what you need to know." And from that point, it was decided. When Keith sets out to retrieve his cousin Lulu, he discovers an unusual secret. It's a mysterious mission known only as Project F. It's exciting, it's revolutionary, and it's going to change the world. It's exactly the kind of adventure Keith has always longed to be part of. And what is adventure without a little danger, right? But how much danger is Keith willing to risk for himself, for his family, for the entire world? If you want to find out, check out Project F, available here at the Kingston Library or through our catalog. And make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss another middle grade book adventure.